Christ is risen, everyone. You are watching David, the real Medvite. As difficult as it is to believe, yes, this is me. Just had to undergo a transformation, but you're not watching this because you want to see how I look or anything like that. As you can see from the title, I want to analyze the question of why do Orthodox just not evangelize enough? A little bit more in detail because there's obviously the kind of normal answers that you can give to it. I think it's just a really bad position. I mean, a question, but I do believe that there is something very significant going on in that question that is just not being um, talked about enough. It's just not. People don't think about this. Uh, so if you haven't heard of this before, which will be crazy, but if you haven't heard of this before, certain people for polemic purposes basically say the Orthodox Church is not the true church because it just doesn't evangelize enough. What has it done? Well, first of all, that's not a really good question. Um, or lack The true church cannot be found by just looking at numbers. Okay, this religion has the most numbers. This specific sect has the most numbers, therefore it's true. You won't really say that, so I understand that you will want to qualify it, but we're not in a position like the animus or anything like that where it's just a completely regional religion either. So it's just on the face of it not a legitimate question. You have to understand that in the Old Testament, majority of the world did not believe in the true faith either, and yet the true faith was only in a very small specific land. Uh, that many people today call Israel. When the true Israel really is the church, but that's a different video. That's a different topic. And at the same time, you have to understand in a pre-schism context, you have to look at the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, first of all, evangelized within its borders. We're talking about a massive empire, evangelized within its borders, and outside of it too. Eventually, we evangelized to the Russians, and after the Roman Empire fell, the Russians evangelized further to the east. Um, so yeah, we didn't have the advantage of colonialism, but we did a pretty good job, I would say. But and of course, even today, you have people like me, you have people like Jay Dyer, you have people in different parts of the Orthodox world. Father Daniel Sisse, who was martyred because he was preaching the Orthodox faith to the Muslims. You have Saint Nicholas of Japan, a great missionary saint. And we can use all of these examples, but I think the main problem here is that people kind of don't understand what conversion means, which is we're getting to the topic of this video, conversion, to convert. One has to understand that it is not really easy to convert to a serious religion. It's not something you just do it and you can just easily keep up with it. Okay? For example, certain Protestant sects, how do they convert people? Well, they just walk around college campuses and they say, "Do the sinner's prayer, and you will be saved. You go to heaven." I mean, when you're comparing that to that, the comparison game is obviously going to be very skewed because at one side you have a complete, utter disrespect to the understanding of repentance, confession, and a true change to Christian lifestyle. You just limit it to just some creed you made up. Okay, you just limit it to a creed you made up. You might find some scriptural verses, you combine them together, and boom, oh, it's actually scriptural, guys. Trust me. I'm not saying that's illegitimate. I mean, the Jesus prayer is scriptural, but I think there's a major difference between that. But even in traditional Christian circles, like we could take the example of Roman Catholicism. Historically speaking, there is this kind of degrading attitude towards conversion, where even amongst traditional Roman Catholic, you have this enthusiastic group who are so big on this inculturation thing. They're so big on this inculturation thing. I'll talk about this in my first video on the history of Christian theology, which I will definitely recommend you to go check out. The kind of differing views on how we understand conversion on a nationwide scale. And a lot of people kind of, again, some people have this idea that to convert, you just spread the God's word and they just confess the true faith and it's over. When conversion is, is confessing the true faith, but it's also acting the true faith, and acting out the true faith is a lot more difficult and requires a much more proper process than it seems to look like. I'm not saying that, I'm using them as a comparison. I'm not saying that Roman Catholics are like they have a completely bad way of doing things, but if you look at how they try to convert the Japanese, or how they try to convert, for example, the Latin Americans, the South Americans, whatever you want to call them, they were utterly not. They didn't care about the kind of pagan aspects of South America. They didn't try to eradicate it. And it's kind of ironic because they brag about, I think his name was Saint Benedict, who cut down the pagan tree, which definitely is something to brag about. Yeah, he's an Orthodox saint. Yeah, but why did that attitude just go away when colonialism became a thing and when you tried to convert the Southern Americans? For the Orthodox, we kind of follow that Benedictine rule to eliminate the pagan aspects of a nation's culture and of someone's life that is detrimental to one's faith. Now, of course, you can get into the discussions within, what aspect of that pagan culture is just secular culture that got mythologized and what aspect of it is truly damaging to the faith. That is, I think, a case by case debate that is done amongst people who are undertaking that missionary path. But the point that I'm trying to illustrate to you here is that the reason why you're not gonna see this instantaneous mass conversion process in the West or anything like that is because there's just so much that you need to work with. Orthodoxy believes in an ascetical faith, that you have to really align your body with and your soul with the life of God. You have to strengthen your soul as much as you also strengthen your body and look after it. This means fasting, almsgiving, right? And many other Christian virtues, going to liturgy, actually properly asking for forgiveness even from your enemies, and many other things. This is, if you want a slice of that, like even a slice of that, I'm not the guy for it. I will definitely recommend you to check out works from Saint Paisios. He's one of the best contemporary Orthodox ascetics who carries the ascetical tradition from the first millennium, right? Which is actually even present in scriptures. You have to transform yourself to do that. When you kind of divorce that, then you can confess the faith, but you don't really live that faith. That's the problem. That's why the question is, have you really converted? Real conversion isn't a purely intellectual. We don't separate it, right? It is intellectual. Don't forget it. It is intellectual. But it's not only intellectual, it's also spiritual. It's also an ethical conversion that you have to do. Your lifestyle, everything about you has to undergo a radical shift. Now, this radical shift, again, it's not instantaneous. This is why catechism traditionally lasted, and still in many places lasts, between 1 year and 3 years. This is the reason, because it is not easy. It takes time, and you have to get into and adopt that Orthodox mindset. This is why trying to convert people into Orthodoxy is much more than trying to convince them of logical arguments. And this is why this polemic of Orthodoxy not true because you just don't try to do apologetics enough. What do you mean by that, really? I mean, wouldn't you agree that setting a Christian life, wouldn't you believe that's a form of apologetics in a sense? I'm not saying I'm doing it, but I do know there's a lot of people that actually successfully do it online and in real life, right? That imitate Christ, that try to imitate the saints and try to ultimately imitate Christ, as Saint Paul says. Aren't there many people that do that? Definitely. There are many people around the world that do undertake that mission. And you can actually access these people. Like, you're really lucky. You can access these people just by searching on YouTube, very simply. Mount Athos or Orthodox monks, or you can search out people like Father Spiridon and many other people, and you will see examples of this. So this is kind of how I will understand and describe the process of conversion. It doesn't really, again, it might sound a bit vague. Partially it might be because I'm just not good at explaining things, but I think it's more so because it's something above and beyond words. And I'm not trying to be like this anti-logic guy. If you watch my videos, 90% of my content is about logic. It's about using this. Uh, like, my point is that your entire being has to change and transform. This is the proper way to understand Orthodox conversion. Again, it's very easy to argue that you convert a lot of people when your understanding of conversion just is say this creed and you're saved. Or if you want to take it a little bit more seriously, believe in this specific, like the specific tenets of the faith, and you're part of the faith now. Because you can even argue, I mean, for example, I remember seeing this. I mean, I live in Turkey. I'm Turkish, so I know this example. I've seen this when I was in elementary school. I heard of this number: 98% of Turks, or 99% of Turks, are Muslims. Like, this will be like a figure, and I like ask myself, 99%. Well, it doesn't really seem like 99% here, right? Again, I'm not trying to make a polemical point. I would, right? I will make it if I wanted to. But my intention for this video is not that. My intention is to just showcase that you have to have a real authentic transformation. It's not just another name to some ex-religion registry. Okay? So that's what I wanted to end this video of it. Hopefully it helped you understand a few things, edified you and whatsoever. Again, I try to get into the deeper meaning of what conversion is. Okay? And finally, I should have put this disclaimer at the start, but finally, I'm not a spiritual father. You're going to get your spiritual advices from your priest. So don't come to me with that kind of stuff. Your priest is better than that. But a lot of, I think, what I said is a paraphrased form of what I've heard from my priest back in the US and even back in Turkey. So back in Istanbul, I mean. So I'm not just going off of my own like mode of thinking. Anyways, hopefully I help you out. If you like this, share this, like it, because YouTube cares about videos being liked, and you might not care about it. I might not care about it, but YouTube cares about it. So share this around if it helped you and you think it will help other people, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Christ is risen. Indeed, he is risen. See you guys in the next video. God be with you all. Bye.